Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. So in this video I'd like to tell you how to look after your potted Christmas tree. Now the good thing is, with a few tips, it's actually very easy to look after a potted Christmas tree and they will survive a lot easier than even some houseplants. So the first thing to remember is over winter the Christmas tree goes into dormancy, and that makes it much more easy to look after. And also it's only going to be in the house for about a month. So luckily with a potted Christmas tree it should be looking good for that whole month with actually very little care at all. So as I say, it's dormant. It doesn't matter too much about light levels. Don't worry about keeping it in the sunshine to help it grow. It's not going to be thinking about growth at this time of year. So light levels, don't worry about it. Just put it in the nicest looking location in your house. Also, when it comes to temperature, it's not too bothered about being warm or cold. It's not going to start coming into growth because it's the early part of the winter. Basically, it knows it's winter and it's going to wait until spring. And even if it gets warm, it's not going to start growing again because it's early winter. So don't worry too much about temperature. Cooler the better, because it does like to be cold during the winter. But as I say, warm spells is not going to be a big problem. So as long as it's below 25 degrees, it'll be absolutely fine. And make sure it's away from any heat sources. So you don't want it to dry out too fast because it, as I say, isn't used to being too warm. So keep it away from radiators, air ducts if you have a heated air duct system, and also of course keep it away from fireplaces or any kind of radiant heat, because it won't like that and it can be a fire hazard as well. So the number one most important thing with Christmas trees, as I say, because they look after themselves pretty much because they're dormant, is watering. It's incredibly important to get the watering right. If you get the watering wrong, then your plant definitely will die. They really don't like to be dry, so you want to make sure they're damp at all times. You want to be checking every single day with your Christmas tree. So put your hand inside the pot, check the soil, make sure it's always damp. You never want it to dry out. If it dries out, even for a couple of days in the indoor environment, it could start to die, and then you'll start losing that nice color of the Christmas tree. And you could also get needle drop. So keep it nice and damp, check it every single day. They are very thirsty, especially if the first few days are in the house, because they're used to growing outside. They haven't fully acclimatized yet. So you can acclimatize them if you want. They're generally fine without being acclimatized, but just bear in mind, those first few days, they're going to be extremely thirsty with that sudden increase in temperature and those very low humidity levels you have in your house over winter. So you want to be giving it lots of water. When you're watering it, you might be needing to give it a pint or half a liter at a time, because that's how thirsty they are. So check if it's damp. If it's very wet, don't give it any water. And if the water starts pooling underneath, often with potted Christmas trees, you get a decorative pot such as this one here, and that will hold any excess water. But you want to make sure that you never have more than an inch of water at the bottom. Ideally, you let that water drain away and it absorbs it all. But if you just have an inch at the bottom, it shouldn't be a problem. Any more than that, it will start to drown the Christmas tree, and then your Christmas tree will die from overwatering. So always keep it damp and make sure it's not drowning in water. But as I say, check it every single day. The very first few trees, you'll be surprised how much water they drink, especially in the first few weeks that you bring them into your house. So that's really it for Christmas trees. Very easy to look after. Don't worry about the light levels. Don't really worry too much about the temperatures. Just really focus on watering, and your tree should look great for the whole festive period. And in between Christmas and planting it out in the garden or putting it into a larger pot, if you want to look after it for a few months over winter, all you need to do is check it once a week for watering and make sure it doesn't dry out too much.